Good afternoon / morning, depends upon where you are. How many people do we have out there, Alex?
Right now we're at about 9.
Cool. My name, as Alex said, and thank you, Alex, again for allowing me the opportunity to do this today. My name is Bryan Pflanz. I am with Stella Chewy's, obviously. I am the territory sales manager for the Mid-Atlantic region. A little bit of background on myself. This is not my first rodeo, as they say. I have been selling dog food for the past 22 years. I started when I was 12 years old. Just kidding. Small attempt at humor. So I've been down this road before, and during that time, I have not been with the company as good as Stella Chewy's, a company that has put out as much good product and healthy product and product that sells like Stella Chewy. So for the next 30 minutes or so, as Alex alluded to, I'm going to take you on a trip on the Stellavator. And this is going to encapsulate all our products, as we have a lot. When we first started out in 2003, we were a frozen food company. There's a couple, frozen raw company, I'm sorry. There's a couple people that are still with the company. Remember that when the company first started, we had 2 SKUs. We had frozen chicken patties and we had frozen beef patties, and that was it. So you will see that things have changed a lot in the past 18 years. So if you have questions, please, oh please, don't hesitate to ask them. I know all this stuff. I can do this in my sleep. It's important that you guys know this, and please feel free to ask any questions. My main objective today, boys and girls, is for you to walk out of here with a little bit better understanding of our brand, because Doggy Styles does sell a whole hell of a lot of it. And if you can just remember one thing, then this will be a success. So, without any further ado, welcome to the Stellavator. So I will tell you today about our frozen products, our freeze-dried products, both the patties and the meal mixers, our kibble, our wet products, and our treats. So as you can see, we've grown to be a little bit more than a frozen raw company. Those of you who have been around the block a time or two, like myself, might remember that back in the 80s, the food pyramid was a big thing. It was on all the food that we eat. They started, the food companies started putting a pyramid saying about this is the best thing that you can eat, and this is the not so best thing that you can eat. Well, we believe there is one for pet food. Obviously, at the tip of the spear there is raw, frozen or freeze-dried, and then it goes down through dehydrated, baked, and all the way down to the bottom there, which is basically your grocery brands. So you would always try to feed what is at the tip of the spear, and we're happy that that's where our products sit. It's video time, and who better to tell the story about our company than our founder, Marie Moody. Sorry about that. Bryan messed up. We're going to try again. Take 2.
I never started out to have a company making pet food. I'm an accidental dog food entrepreneur. Want to try a little bite? Come here. There's Mommy and Chewy. When I rescued Chewy in 1998, he was a severely sick pup. And the vet that I had at the time suggested I look into a raw meat diet. As I did further research, I realized that there wasn't anything like that available on the market. So I started making my own food for them in my kitchen, and that's how it really began. They probably wondered where I was coming from when I would come home with these big bags of meat, bones, and they were like, where was I finding that? And I would put it all together with organic fruits and vegetables that would simulate how they might have eaten in the wild. It wouldn't have been cooked. I mean, dogs don't have thumbs. They can't start fires. And once I started feeding Stella Chewy this way, Chewy had a remarkable recovery. I mean, it was within months seeing him thrive and recover on this kind of a diet. I realized that other people would probably want to feed this way if they only knew about it. That's when I decided to do it myself. I would gather up all the orders for the week, and I would hail a cab, and I would do my deliveries out of the back of the taxi. Stella and Chewy lived to be about 17, and then when they passed away, we adopted Tommy, and my son took one look at him and said, "But I wanted a cat." I believe that how you feed your pet is the most direct way to affect his or her health, and we are 100% committed to providing the freshest, most nutritious, healthful food for pets.
So there you have it. Yes, that is where our name came from. Stella and Chewy were two senior pets that Marie Moody adopted, and as she said, you know, they both of them, in particular Chewy, were in pretty bad shape, and by coming up with a frozen raw diet, something very nutritious, she was able to give them a real good life, and they were around longer than they probably would have been if it wasn't for her. So Marie started in the fashion industry. Her passion still to this day is the adoption of senior pets, whether they be dogs or cats. And she started out, as she said there, you know, delivering her product in the back of a taxi cab, to the point where this year we will do over $200 million in sales. So that is quite a success story. So back to the Stellavator. Our raw philosophy is very simple. Not everybody, you know, will do frozen raw. It's obvious. Some people are scared of it. My wife used to be, rather, she wasn't big on handling frozen products. So that's why we're focused on making the power of raw nutrition more available and more convenient. Any amount of raw in a dog's diet will have a meaningful positive impact, which is why, as you see when I talk about the products that we have, that there's one common thread that ties them all together, and that's they all contain raw, just because of that reason, that we feel that just a little bit of raw will do your dog justice. As you can see, as I said, in 2003, we came out with frozen raw. Then 2006, we realized, let's make this a little bit more convenient for people, and we came out with freeze-dried patties. 8 years later, we came out with meal mixers, because we found out that a lot of people were getting the patties and crumbling them and topping their kibble with it. So that's why we came out with those. And then back in 2017, we decided to go the kibble route, and we haven't looked back since. Give you an idea of where we stand in the pecking order. Alex might not even know this, but our brands are only available in Neighborhood Pet. Okay, you cannot get Stella and Chewy's in Petco. You cannot get Stella and Chewy's in PetSmart. You cannot get Stella and Chewy's in Tractor Supply. You can get our freeze dried on Amazon and Chewy.com, but we have a guy named Ben, whose job in our plant in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, his job is to police the internet. So it's a level playing field. He makes sure that people on the internet are not undercutting the neighborhood pet stores. So, it's a nice world we can all live. You cannot get our kibble, our wet products, or our frozen products on the internet. They are available only in places like Doggy Styles. We believe in the prey model diet, and the bulk of our products are basically meat, organs, and bone. 70% meat, 25% organ meat, and 5% bone. And that is how dogs would eat in wild, because they are carnivores. Benefits of feeding raw are simple. Healthy teeth and gums. Prior to starting at Stella and Chewy's, I was under the impression that kibble is the best way to remove plaque and tartar buildup from your dog's teeth. No, that is not correct. It works from the inside out. So the natural enzymes in ground bone help remove plaque and tartar and make your dog's mouth or cat's mouth clean. Healthy digestion, raw, because it's 95% meat. Your dog is taking in everything it needs and what it doesn't. So it's a lot easier to digest than a lot of your kibbles out there and things that have corn and whatnot in it. Skin and coat, because there's so much meat. You also have a lot of oils in there and omega fatty acids, which provide your healthy skin and shiny coat. And there's nothing a dog owner or a cat owner likes better to hear a person come up to them when they're walking their animal and say, wow, look how shiny this dog's coat are. Stamina and vitality, because it's meat, organs, and ground bone. Your dog's not getting the hypoglycemic spike from sugar and whatnot. So your dog's energy level is even. Allergy relief, we have, our foods are all single source protein. So, I mean, I'm sure that you guys in the store get a lot of, oh, my dog is allergic to chicken. Well, if you take a look at the ingredient panel on a lot of foods out there, there's chicken in there in some way, shape, or form. Ours isn't like that. Our chicken obviously has chicken, but if you go to our beef, it's beef. If you go to our lamb, it's lamb, so on and so forth. So there's not mixed proteins there. And lastly, weight management, because there's so much meat in it, your dog isn't getting a whole lot of carbs, and that way he won't look like me with an extended belly. Makes our food so special. First of all, it's made in the USA. Our plant is in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. Our beef is grass-fed and grass-finished. Our poultry products are all cage-free. Our fish is wild-caught. Vegetables are farm-raised and organic. Our foods are enhanced with probiotic. This is a little bit misleading because our stuff used to be all grain-free. Then a thing called DCM reared its ugly head a couple years ago, and the veterinarians kind of went back on what they told people and started saying that grain-free isn't good, grain-in is. We don't necessarily believe that, but we are a food company, so we came out with a few grain-inclusive diets. There's no added hormones. We don't have potatoes in our food. We don't have corn. We don't have wheat. We don't have soy, and our products are not sourced and made in China. Speaking of sourcing, as you can see, our stuff, our meat, our beef, our lamb, and our venison come from Australia and New Zealand. In North America here, that's where we get our chicken, some of our beef, our fish, our lamb, and our turkey. And lastly, in Europe is where we get most of our rabbit, duck, and goose. You'll notice I didn't say pheasant because we don't have a pheasant diet anymore. Pheasants were becoming too hard to come by. Our products, as you know, as it's frozen raw and freeze-dried raw, there's nothing there about cooking. So how do we remove the harmful bacteria and like? We use a process called HPP, high pressure processing. And it's very similar. I like to equate this to being at the pool and getting a beach ball. So you get a beach ball, you're in the pool, and you take that beach ball and you push it to the bottom of the pool. As you do that, I'm sure we've all did that at one time or another, you see all the bubbles coming off. Well, those bubbles are your harmful bacteria. And you pushing the ball down to the bottom of the pool is the HPP process. So that's how we remove all the bad stuff. So it's very high pressurized, just like the ball being pushed to the bottom of the pool, and the bubbles coming off is the bad stuff. Make sense to you? I'll take that as a yes. So the Stellavator is now going to the top floor. And at the top of the floor, the penthouse suite is our frozen raw, which we firmly believe is the best way to feed your dog. It's never cooked. It's 100% natural. Depending upon what protein it is, it's 90 to 95% meat, organ, and bone. Frozen, although has a high sticker on it, it is economical because you don't have to feed as much and your dog is getting what they need. And as I just said, it's all single source animal protein. It's very limited ingredient because it is frozen raw. So if you're, like I said, if you're getting beef, it's got beef in it. There's no beef and chicken. It's not a blend. It's all single source. And it's got all the good stuff and none of the bad stuff. What I like, I just got a puppy recently, and obviously my puppy is eating frozen raw. And it's great, and especially those of you who work at stores that are in urban areas, It's a bitch cleaning up after a dog that isn't eating good food. My dogs, and you know, it's funny, I started out back when I wore a younger man's clothes and was in college. I had delusions of grandeur of getting into the broadcast world. I never thought I would be 50-10 and talking to people about the size of their dog's poops, but you know, it's something. My dog eating frozen raw, her poops are real small. Cleaning up after my dog Chelsea is very easy to do because she eats a good food, and that's what happens when your dog eats a good food. It has a lot of meat and has stuff that it doesn't need. It's really easy to clean up. Our frozen products come 3 different ways. They come in what I call hamburger patties, which is what comes in the 12-pound and 6-pound bag. Sliders, which are the ones that are a little bit smaller, and they come in the 3-pound bag. They're a little bit smaller. As I said, that's what my dog's eating now. And then lastly, it comes in morsels, which is the same thing as the patties, but it is in a morsel shape. And as you can see, we have beef, chicken, duck, lamb, turkey, surf and turf, rabbit, and venison. So we have pretty much every protein you could ask for in a frozen diet. And there's your morsels, your 6-pound, and your 3-pound patties. We also have raw frozen for cat. Basically the same thing as our dog. The only thing is there's 98% meat, organ, and bone as opposed to the 90 to 95 for dog. Reason being, of course, is because cats prefer and need more meat and protein than dogs do. It also comes in smaller bags. You're not usually, people aren't buying 12.5-pound bags of cat food. So the cat comes in a morsel form, not a patty. So we leave the penthouse and we go to the concierge floor in the concierge suite, and I will tell you about freeze-dried products of ours. Our freeze-dried products, we have no equal. To give you an idea of how our freeze-dried sells, we have a 55% dollar share of the freeze-dried market. That's incredible. To have a 55 share of anything is saying something. So our freeze-dried sells rather well. Those of you guys who've worked in the store before probably know that. A lot of people come to the register with those red bags. So the difference between our frozen products and our freeze-dried products are they're a lot more convenient. They're easier to take down the shore when you get down the shore with your dog for a week or so. And the major difference is the freeze-dried products don't have water in it, whereas the frozen ones do. So if you want your Stella with water or without, so freeze-dried basically is the same thing as frozen, but with the moisture taken out. Of course, we also have freeze-dried cat. Once again, the same thing. Freeze-dried is essentially the same thing as frozen with the moisture taken out. It's a lot more easier to store. People feel more at ease, comfortable feeding freeze-dried than they do with the frozen. And as you can see, we have a lot of different formulas of the cat. Next floor will be the Magical Mixer Suite. Not the Magical Mystery Tour, the Magical Mixer Suite. So, as I said earlier, we started out and we only had patties. We only had patties in frozen. We only had patties in freeze-dried. And then we discovered that a lot of people were taking their patties and crumbling them up and topping their kibble with it. So we figured, you know what? We're onto something here. Why don't we just take the patties and reduce them to a smaller size? So difference between the meal mixers, my friends, and the patties is the meal mixers are in cubes. The patties are in a patty. That's it. It's the only difference. Meal mixers are a little bit more expensive if you take a look at the weight of them than the patties. So a person could easily feed their dog meal mixers instead of patties, but they're going to be paying a little bit more for it. So we always say kickstart your kibble. Meal mixers are great for picky eaters. Just like everything else, it's 95% meat, between 90 and 95, single source animal proteins, and it's really economical for people that want to add it to their dog's food. Not only that, but Mr. Nelson likes this one, I'm sure. It is the ultimate add-on. So a lot of people, I'm sure, that you see come into the stores and they say to you, my dog has just decided to stop eating his food. What can I do? And they're a little bit hesitant about buying something else because they just bought food and their dog isn't liking it. So this is where you turn to a 9-ounce bag of meal mixers. So if you get 5 new customers each month, when that person comes up to you and say, what can I do? What can I do? My dog's not eating his kibble anymore. You recommend meal mixers. I can almost guarantee you that that dog will not turn his nose to that kibble anymore. And you will look like a hero. So if you get 5 new customers feeding those meal mixers and they buy 1 bag a month, at the end of the year, it will add an additional $14,000 to the Doggy Styles till. So meal mixers are awesome. Like I said, it's the greatest add-on sale. I've seen it forever, and it works. Very rarely, because I see every month I get a list of items that customers have brought back of mine to Doggy Styles, and I don't see meal mixers on there. So that right there alone tells me that this is an item that works. And it also helps you introduce raw food to your customers. So that's my commercial for meal mixers.
Is your dog's everyday mealtime a little too everyday? Turn it into everyday awesome by topping with Stella and Chewy's meal mixers and kickstarting your kibble. Our mixers pack the raw meat punch to excite the meat and dogs who become bored with their kibble. Plus, it contains great raw nutrition. Meal mixers are 95% meat, organs, and bone. They are grain-free and gluten-free, containing just what dogs love. Don't you want more meat in your food, buddy? Our mixers come in many great recipes featuring only the best ingredients, such as grass-fed beef, cage-free chicken, and organic fruits and veggies. We never use any ingredients from China. We also have our line of meal mixer super blends. These contain the same pieces of freeze-dried meat plus pieces of superfoods, freeze-dried bananas, strawberries, and blueberries. Depending on the size of your dog, you can mix in 1, 2, or more scoops each day. Simply scoop, mix, and serve for a great topper to kickstart your kibble. Make mealtime exciting and nutritious. Your dog will think you're pretty awesome. And kickstarting your kibble. Hi-ya, chicken and organic fruits and vegetables. I said organic. I thought it was for the blooper.
Hey, she just said everything that I had said previously. Once again, meal mixers, as I said, they're a great add-on. Once again, what my company wants people to do is to add at least a little bit of raw to their dog's diet, and meal mixers do a great job at that. And as she had said, there's also meal mixer super blends, and what they are is meal mixers with little pieces of freeze-dried fruit in it, bananas, and strawberries, and blueberries. Let's face it, the dog isn't the person who's buying the food. That would be the dog owner, and we all know how important fruits are in our diet. So a lot of people subscribe to the theory that, well, if it's good for me, it's good for my dog, which is why we came out with the super blends that have the little pieces of freeze-dried fruit in it. There you can see the strawberries, blueberries, and bananas. Kibble came out about a little bit more than 4 years ago. We were strictly, as you can see, a raw, whether it be freeze-dried or frozen company. But we're also a food company, so we realized we're missing the boat, because how many of us, since we were a kid and had dogs, have fed kibble? And some people feel that kibble is the only thing you can feed your dog, period, end of sentence. That's what we fed my dog when I was a kid. That's what I'm going to feed my dog. So we kind of had to come out with the kibble if we wanted to, continue sales and keep moving forward. So how can we come out with the kibble and be able to do what we want to do which of course is add raw food in your dog's diet. So we came out with a kibble that is, it's rather different than most of the other kibbles that are out there. Just like everything else, meat's your number one ingredient. It's grass-fed, grass-finished beef. Poultry's cage-free. The fish is wild-caught. It's got probiotics in it. Fruit and veggies are organic, and it's gluten-free and potato-free. Same sourcing as with our other ones. Here's where things get different. 98% of all kibble out there is cooked by a process called extrusion. I believe there are only 6 companies out there that have a baked kibble, us being one of them. So difference being, extrusion, you can make a lot of kibble easy and in a short period of time. The meat goes in the extrusion machine. It's cooked at a high temperature, usually around 400, 450 degrees, for about 4 hours. Ours is baked for 6 minutes at about 160 degrees. So I always try to bring people into the kitchen because we've all been in the kitchen and we can kind of draw a conclusion by looking at everyday things. So I'm going to put us all in the kitchen and we're going to make ourselves a roast, okay? With the roast, you put the roast in the roasting pan, you put the roasting pan with the roast in it in the oven, and you put it at a high temperature for a long time. So the long time is done, you take the roasting pan out, and you look at the bottom of the roasting pan, there's all this black stuff on the bottom. So now we're going to go back to the kibble world. You take the stuff out of the extrusion machine, and the black stuff is your digestive enzymes and what have you, your nutrients. So when a food is cooked at a high temperature for a long period of time in an extrusion machine, you're cooking out a lot of the stuff that your dog needs. Now ours, it's only cooked at as I said, at a low temperature for a small period of time, so that's not happening. The kibble is more nutrient dense. So, and also, it's a little bit softer. So I know you guys probably get people to come in there and say, do you have anything that's a little bit softer? My dog has some dental issues. Yorkshire Terriers, for example, is a breed that is, and you probably have a lot of them in the city, a breed that's prone to dental issues. Senior dogs are another one that have lost teeth and just can't do that crunchy kibble anymore. It's another one that our food is good for. So, as you can see, 3.5, 4.5 hours of 375. Ours is around 200 degrees for 4 or 5 minutes. So, boy, our kibble looks good, doesn't it? So, not only is it not extruded, it's baked, it's more nutrient dense, but once it comes out of the oven, it is coated in pulverized, freeze-dried raw. So, there's your raw. You'll notice a continuing theme here. Everything has the word raw in it of ours, pretty much. So, so there's a good food that's high in meat. It has a lot of nutrients that aren't getting baked out of it, and now it's coated in pulverized, freeze-dried raw. So it's, as you can see, that's your freeze-dried raw on it. So it makes it even that much more palatable. Your dog's getting more meat in it. And what I just described to you was our raw coated kibble. We also have a raw blend kibble, which is what you're seeing in the picture there. That's our raw coated kibble, baked, 200 degrees, 4 or 5 minutes, sprayed with pulverized freeze-dried raw. And then our raw blend kibble has meal mixers added to it. So a 10-pound bag of our raw coated kibble has an 8-ounce bag of meal mixers in it. A 22-pound bag of our kibble has an 18-ounce bag of meal mixers. So here we're doing the work for the customer. He doesn't even have to worry about, or she doesn't have to worry about adding meal mixers to the food. It's great for healthy digestion, skin and coat, healthy teeth and gums, hips and joints, stamina and vitality because of the raw food that's in it. And it comes in every flavor possible anymore. We've got chicken, beef, whitefish, duck, lamb. Also have a puppy diet and a small breed dog diet. And then our raw blend, which is our most popular selling one. That's the one with the meal mixers in it. There's a small breed red meat, red meat, cage-free, which of course is poultry, and free-range, which is lamb, goat, and elk. And it's a perfect solution for your pet parents who are looking for a real good kibble, how to put raw in their dog's diet, something with high protein, low carbs, and of course the best ingredients. One dog that we always go for is picky eaters because there is so much meat in our stuff. Picky eaters love it. And puppy owners, good for them as well, keeps them in the brand. And for somebody who's already using our meal mixers, it's perfect for them. I've gone through a lot so far, boys and girls. I'm going to catch my breath. I want you to catch your breath, and I want you to ask me any questions that you've come up with so far. Class? Bueller?
Brian,
Okay.
we had a question from Amanda.
All right, Amanda.
Would the meal mixers be good for a dog with IBS?
Because there's so much meat in it, yes. However, if you're talking about a dog with IBS or any type of thing like that, any kind of underlying issue, it's always good to run it by the veterinarian, because if you're on irritable bowel syndrome, if you're on a diet for that, a lot of times that diet is coming from the veterinarian. I would be okay with doing that myself. If my dog Chelsea had irritable bowel syndrome, chances are I would, because it's important to have raw in their diet, and they need meat and they need protein. So, but I would, I guess, in answer to your question, I would check with the veterinarian. But chances are I probably would. Good question. Who else? Who else besides Amanda was brave enough to ask a question?
Brian, I have a question. This is a gimme, but you kind of breezed over this. Meal mixers, would that be your number one product to recommend if someone's like trying to transition out of a dry diet to a raw diet?
Yep.
Like a little bit, quarter at a time over the course of a week in their bowl?
I would either use the meal mixers or the patties if I was doing it that way. And I say the patties, Alex, because they're a little bit more economical. They're both the same thing. I'm just looking at dollars and cents.
Right.
The nice thing about meal mixers also is they're a real good treat as well. So they kind of serve two purposes. So in that respect, I would probably do the meal mixers because, now you have treats as well as something. But like I said earlier, meal mixers can be used as a complete and balanced meal, but it starts getting a little pricey. So I think if I was switching my dog over, okay, when I worked at Blue Buffalo, and went to Stella Chewy's, that's what I did with my dog. I did the patty route and did the quarter, three-quarter, half, three-quarter, quarter, all patties. So yes, you can do it. A little bit cheaper if you went the patty route, though. But like I said, meal mixers are a great treat. They're easy. Just throw it to your dog, sit, give them the treat, the whole 9 yards, and your dog's going to love you. The only problem is using them as a training treat will become difficult because you put them in your pocket and they can get smushed, and then you have freeze-dried raw coating the inside of your pocket. So, excellent question. What else, Alex? Keep them coming. I'm on a roll now.
One more. Is there any difference in the shelf life between extruded and baked kibble, or is it about the same?
It's about the same. About the same. Usually, depending upon the company, 16 to 18 months. Wow, nobody's ever asked me that question before. That was a good one. Hats off to whoever asked me that question. That's good. Now, my friends, I've worked for two of the biggest companies out there. I worked for Heinz and Eukanuba back when they were viable for 15 years. Then I went to Blue Buffalo, who used to be the biggest player in the game, was with them for 5 years. So, yeah, I've seen it all. But, yeah, it's a good question. I never had that one before. Super. Good thinking. That's it?
We just had a comment from James, who's definitely going to switch his cats to Stella and Chewy's.
Super. And if you're going to do that, James, and I'll tell all you guys this, and you can tell your customers this, Alex loves our marketing, all right? Alex is a big fan of ours because of the amount of marketing that my company does. I don't think anybody does it better. if you go onto StellaandChewy's.com, we love sending people coupons. As soon as you go onto our website, within 5 seconds, you will see a pop-up saying, hey, give us your email address and we'll give you a $3 or $5 off coupon. And then when you do that, we send you coupons all the time. So if you want to look like a hero to your customers, and if you feed my food, which I hope you do because I'm not getting any younger, use that. Use Stella and Chewy's giving people coupons as a tool. So, yeah, I know my stuff ain't cheap, so, you know, every chance you can, except if you're in, what's the name of the Narberth? I think those people don't need coupons there because they're kind of rich.
Amanda asked, are there meal mixers? Yeah, again. She asked if there's meal mixers for cats or just dogs, or would I be able to use the mixers for my cats?
Amanda's got her thinking cap on. Amanda, our cat products our freeze-dried cat is in the shape of a meal mixer. So, I guess an answer to your question is yes. Cats don't like, cats are weird creatures. Cats don't like patties. We have found that out. Cats prefer something smaller that they can put whole in their mouth, and meal mixers are the perfect size. I'm sorry, our cat products are the perfect size because it's a morsel. That's it. All right, boys and girls, excellent questions. So right now we're in the red zone. We're at the 20-yard line driving towards the goal. We're almost down on the 300 block of Market Street in Philadelphia there. About 4 years ago, we came out with kibble. 2 years ago, because we want to be we are a complete pet food company, we came out with wet products. And just like our kibble, we came out with something that's different than most of your wet products out there. Now, if you take a look at this, these are the packaging that these are in is called Tetra Paks. They're better for the environment. They're easy to store. They look better on the shelf than cans do. So this is our version of a can, okay? I've had people ask me that. What's the difference between these and the cans? They're recyclable. They look better on the shelf. They're easier to put. And it's just different. It's a Stella way of doing things. It's made in actually the same industrial complex in Oak Creek, Wisconsin that our plant is. It's all human-grade ingredients, kid. It's made in it says on my slide here, made in human-grade USA kitchen. That means it's made in a kitchen that makes things for Campbell's soup. It's all the stuff you would expect. It's all USDA-inspected muscle meat. And like I said, it's made locally in Wisconsin. Land of 1,000 lakes. Nothing but good stuff. Of course, your first ingredient is meat. It has bone broth in it. If you take a look at the ingredient deck on a lot of canned foods out there, you see the word water right up towards the top of there. Or those of you who aren't in the Philadelphia area, water. Ours has bone broth, which is high in collagen. It's a real healthy thing you'll see in your stores. You guys probably carry a bunch of bone broths. So I like about the fact there's no gums in it. There's no natural flavors added to it. It's all organic vegetables, just like everything else. So it's kind of like a wet version of our other products, where it's a very healthy, very palatable, good for your dog or cat food. And the fact that it comes in a Tetra Pak, it's easy to open, it's easy to store. Before Amanda asked this question, when it is open, it can go in the refrigerator. I usually put it in a Ziploc bag for 7 days. There's a couple different diets. There's chicken, there's turkey, there's beef, there's lamb. It's all human. I've seen higher management in my company when we first came out with these actually eat this stuff. That's something a lot of us reps out there do to make us look pretty cool with our foods, but I wouldn't do that. I would never eat food, but I have seen people actually eat our wet products. So God bless them. We have 4 stews that have meat and vegetables in it, lamb, turkey, chicken, and beef. We have 2 stews that are a medley, which is just meat. There's no vegetables, that being the poultry and the red meat. And it's an 11-ounce package. Retails for the neighborhood of $3.49. Part of the beauty of our wet products, kids, is the fact that it is not available on that evil thing called the internet. So if you get somebody on our wet products, it's not like you're going to lose that customer to Chewy or I found it cheaper on Amazon. No, you cannot get my stuff on Chewy or on Amazon. When I say my stuff, I'm talking about the wet products that we're looking at right now. So you'll have a captive audience if you get your customer on it. Our broth toppers. Broth topper is it's bone broth. It's got little chunks of meat in it. It's slow cooked. It has turmeric in it, which is a big thing with pet food owners, and actually people that I know with 2 legs actually take turmeric because it's really good for you. And there's the 8 wet products. Last but certainly not least are our treats. We came out a while back with the raw coated biscuit, which is once again, this one is not available on Chewy or Amazon either. Our raw coated biscuits, I think, are a great value. It is 9 ounces of meat for, I believe they run between $7.99, $6.99, somewhere in that neighborhood. So to have something that has this much meat in it, 9 ounces of it, for that low of a price is a good thing. Essentially what our raw coated biscuits are, it's our kibble just blown up to the size of a Werther's candy. So they're real palatable, and it's a lot of food for your money. Carnivore Crunch essentially is our meal mixers with the fruits and vegetables taken out of it. It's just meat. Comes in a beef diet, a chicken diet, a duck diet, and a turkey diet, and it's a great treat. A lot of meat. My personal favorite, of course, is our single ingredient freeze-dried organ treats, and that's exactly what it is, boys and girls. We don't use a lot of ink on the ingredient deck on these packages. So you see the big one looking you in the face there, the beef liver treats. You flip that over and look at the ingredient deck, and there is one thing, beef liver. So these things are amazing in terms of the palatability. I have not seen a dog turn his nose to our single ingredient organ treats. So love them. Good stuff. Wild weenies, you got to love them just by the name alone. Another real palatable treat. Basically 3 ingredients. You got meat, bone, and algae. Algae is it's funny when I heard that, I'm like, who the hell is going to feed their dog algae? Well, algicide is, it's a omega-3, and that's how we create the casing that makes it look like a little cocktail bean on our wild weenies. So dogs love them. It's a good summer treat as well, something to tell your customers about. And that, boys and girls, is that. That is the Stellavator in a nutshell. Any last questions?
Amanda again.
That girl. Love her. Never met her, but I love her. Go ahead.
I've had a few customers who have asked about their picky eaters. Other than the patties or mixers, would the wet food be great to suggest to them as well?
Yeah, always. The wet food will be good, sure. Just add it to it. I like to use I always start off with the bone broth because it lasts longer that way. And then just mix it in with a spoon. But certainly, yeah, you can definitely do that. Okay. Guys, thank you for your questions. Thank you for your attention. Like I said, I kept you guys to 45 minutes. That's what I thought. Nice job. Thank you for your questions. Thanks for paying attention. And I hope and pray that you guys walked out of here with just one thing that this old man spouted out today to remember to tell your customers and help sell my stuff and to help put more money into the registers at Doggy Styles locations.
Thank you, Brian. One last question. Cat treats.
No.
Never going to be added to the line?
Never. The word never doesn't exist in my vocabulary, Mr. Alex. Guys, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. You can feed my dog products to your cat, and and feel totally comfortable doing so. The reasons why, and we can't put that on the bag because we will alienate that animal's parents. So if you want to feed my wild weenies to your cat, go ahead. It's perfectly good. It's 95% meat. So yeah, that's the thing. It's a marketing thing. We explored that years back when we first started coming out with treats. And we had found that if a dog customer sees the word cat, they're not going to buy it. Cat customer sees the word dog on the package, they're not going to buy it. They just want something made specifically for that species. So, but in terms of a per se cat treat, probably not. We have found, and I've seen this throughout my 22 years, it's like cat owners that are buying treats, they're buying the cheap stuff. If we're going to come out with something new like that, Stella Chewy's is going to be a little expensive because there's so much meat. We're not going to come out with something cheap, and we're not going to make a lot of money out of it, and they're probably going to be too expensive. But if you have somebody that will listen to you with an open mind, you can tell them, hey, just take this. I know people that feed our single ingredient freeze-dried organ treats to their cat, and the cats love them because it's all meat or an organ meat. So.
James Davis is worried about the amount of taurine. Would there be enough taurine?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Did I say yes? Yes.
Excellent.
Yep. That's it. You guys are great. Thank you for all the questions. I wish everybody asked as many questions as you guys did. Now go out and sell some Stella and Chewy's. Alex, as always, thank you for letting me talk to your people.
No problem. Great having you on. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks. Thanks again, guys. Good luck to you.
Have a good one.
Likewise.